Hi everyone, Brandy Yvette here with part 2 of accountability. Welcome to this week's episode of Just Swallow the Pill with our muse here from Venus Clapback. Don't forget to follow her on all social media outlets. Venus Clapback, literally just search that. She told me that.
It's here.
It's there. And so, yeah, subscribe. Her podcast with Colette is on Apple Music. I don't have no Apples. And SoundCloud. Yeah. Do I have SoundCloud?
You should. If you know that. Oh yeah, you're right, Android.
Yeah.
So you could download SoundCloud. It's okay. You can still listen.
I don't have no Apples. I'm actually thinking about getting one next month.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Last year, you guys, I had a iPhone for 48 hours.
And then what happened?
I took it back.
Why?
Because the front camera was trash. And y'all know, if y'all follow me on my Instagram, y'all know I take hella selfies on my feeds. I mean, for my stories.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and,
you do.
And so I need that camera to be right, child. But anyway, so if you missed last week's episode, we talked about what does accountability mean, and we also talked about realizing your role and how does accountability start with you. So if you missed that episode, you got to go back and watch it because it's really good. So this week, however, we're going to continue the conversation, but we're going to talk about, was that really your fault? Like, really, was that your fault? Or is someone just projecting their bullshit onto you? Okay. And then we're also going to talk about holding others accountable and accountability versus responsibility. So last week you said we were not going to like your answer to was that really your fault?
I mean, probably not.
I want to know.
Maybe so.
Was that my fault?
It depends. It depends. It's really easy to blame the other person. It really is. As women, it's really easy to blame men with what happens to us. But the honest answer is that you have more control over your life than you give yourself credit for. And red flags come early, they come soon, but you think that shit's cute and it's not. And before you know it, you find yourself in like the quicksand and now it's somebody else's fault. So it honestly just depends. I recognize there's crazy people out there. You don't know shit until it just pops off, you know, but I'm solely coming from the perspective of semi-regular human beings, not like no, we're not talking about no domestic rape, you know, molestation. I can't. Those folks just are just trash.
Right. Right.
I'm just speaking for the very, in the context of this conversation, the very low lives. Right. Not on the abuse spectrum. That's a whole nother.
Right. That's not.
As far as
channel.
Abuse is concerned, let me just make this clear because I don't want anybody to get it misconstrued.
Okay.
As far as abuse is concerned, that is not your fault. Point blank in the period. Like, I don't care anybody tell you, you did not deserve to be raped, molested, you did not deserve to be beat, you did not deserve to be verbally abused, sexually abused, spiritually abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused. That is not your fault. We're not talking about that.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I made that disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because I know folks is out here crazy, but that is not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, no.
And I'm glad you said that because abuse is one of those things that is projected. I didn't even realize I was being emotionally abused until way after the fact. And, you know, that went into my self-esteem. And so I thought, well, I'm a shitty woman. That's why all this shit happened to me. because I'm just horrible. I'm shitty. I'm worthless. And so again, those things are not your fault.
Yeah,
it's not your fault that this person has felt the need to put you down and crush your spirit, to try to uplift themselves, to make themselves feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
So no, that kind of stuff is not your fault. But again, you know, those red flags. So for instance, you know, like what we hear on the Housewives of Atlanta all the time, you know, do you watch them? Okay, so I watch sometimes. I watch sometimes, and a lot of times, like, it'd be the girls, and one of the girls would bring a new man around. And then the girls would be like, girl, he is an opportunist because he did this, and this with the last girl. You know, those things are red flags. Not saying you have to like take that for law, but they're red flags. So if you choose to continue with this person,
precisely,
understand that you are accountable for choosing to continue with this person after you received information.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily to say that you should believe everything that other people say, because everybody's experiences with other people are totally different. Some people will be like, oh, Ebony's dope. Some people will be like, Ebony is a B word. It just depends on the interaction, and I'm totally okay with that.
Muse is not the B word, though.
I'm not the B word. My truth just kind of hurts sometimes. I'm okay with that.
It does,
but it depends. It depends on people's interactions with me.
Right.
So you do have to take other people's experiences of a person with a grain of salt.
Right.
It's not to be ignored, because if somebody comes to you like, yo, Ebony, she'll call you out on your shit, blah, blah, blah. You can take that either way it go. But when you meet me, you're going to learn that I'm going to call you out on your shit.
Right.
So it's not a lie.
Right.
But you may be in a position to be open to me calling you out on your shit versus, people being a little caught off guard by it. And that's okay. So it's not to say that what people have to say as far as their experiences with a person isn't true. You do have to just kind of take it and store it in the back of your mind. However, to counter that, as women, we have intuition.
Yes.
A lot of these things we know already. We know. If we've been in the dating game, you've learned a few things. You've learned a few tips and tricks along the way.
Familiar.
Some similar things. Some similar things that that kind of run parallel to the character of a person. So these things, you recognize these things, and at the first sign of your intuition or your third eye being opened, and something happens, you're not even shocked by it because you saw it. Let's be really, really, really real. And again, it goes back to that bullshit threshold that I was talking about. Like, you're not even shocked by it. It's like, oh, okay, I was ready for that. I was prepared for that. Like, it sucks, but it's not really outside of his, like, the character box that he has. Like, we be knowing.
So that reminds me of my last relationship. So my last relationship.
Sure.
And so I had so many red flags, but I didn't trust myself. And so, again, when you don't trust yourself, you allow things to happen. And, man, I had so many red flags. Now thinking back, woo, he was throwing them flags at my ass. Yeah. And when things did hit the fan, like Muse said, I was absolutely hurt, but I was not shocked. Because I had been feeling something for like a good month.
Yeah.
Like a good month consistently, like almost daily for a month, my spirit did not sit right with things that happened. And so again, those are things that I have to be accountable for. Yes, this person is responsible for doing those things, but I have to be accountable for the fact that I allowed those things to happen because I didn't listen to myself. And that segues us into accountability versus responsibility. Responsibility is shared. You know, responsibility is something that you can absolutely share with someone else. Accountability, you cannot. Accountability is yours. You have to own it. And other people have to own their shit too. A lot of people don't like being held responsible for their actions. I have found. And you know what? It hurts. It really hurts when someone has not just done something like one time, but when they've been consistent with the same pattern of behaviors and you finally call them out on it, right? And they act so oblivious, like, oh.
They've been running around unchecked. Like nobody's said anything because women are conditioned to just take a lot of shit. And so they, they run the gamut of bullshit unchecked. And then when they hit a brick wall or somebody who is very sure of themselves, has boundaries and standards, then it's like, like that's not what I'm used to. And so immediately you're the bad person because you're not putting up with their bullshit.
Right.
I'm that person.
Let me tell you, and I wanted to touch on that. I don't think that, like, I guess you can say you call people out on their shit. I think you give people something to think about. Like,
I like that. I can do that.
Because you do that with me. Like with our, with the conversation, her and I just had a off-camera conversation. And you asked questions that made me think. And so I felt like, okay. And so even if you don't answer the question right then and there, it still gives you something to think about, so you can eventually answer the question, after you've really thought about what you want to do or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I'm a different type of person, I guess.
You're on the open to receiving side.
I am.
So you can label it something loving, but if you're on the other side, then it's.
I guess, but also because I'm self-aware too.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me nothing about me that I don't already know. And if you call me something that I'm not, I will call you a liar to your face because I'm completely self-aware. Like, I know who Brandy is. Like, I won't let nobody tell me I'm something I'm not. But if you tell me something I am, I own it. Yep, I am that. And that's just who I am.
Yep.
But all right, so that ends this episode.
Already? Darn.
You have more?
I don't know. Probably. Probably.
All right.
What else on the note sheet? Let's see.
That's it. That's all my points. That's all we talked about.
Okay.
Just Sasha's. We don't have no more points.
Okay.
I didn't put no more points. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to miss next week's episode. And also, don't forget to follow our Muse with Venus Clapback on all social media networks. Search Venus Clapback.
Yep.
And they talk about
all things Black women.
all things black women. And I love their page. I love the yellow. Because, girl, you know that yellow looks good on us.
Yellow's good for your soul.
Girl, yes.
Because sunshine, like, it just gives you life. Like,
Yes.
literally, sunshine does give you life.
It does.
But it's a good energy booster. It's a good reminder that you're alive.
Yes.
Like, yellow is good. And we are here as black women to give you life. Like, don't get me started. But
Yes.
black women, you're amazing.
Yes, you are amazing. And black men. Because, you know, black men watch me too.
Black men are amazing as well. They
Y'all-
are.
Y'all are good, y'all.
They are. Black men are amazing.
We
as
love
well.
our black men, sisters.
Well, specifically, I love black men who are for the protection and the safety of black women. So there's a small segment of you. Everybody else is cool too.
That part. All right. So don't forget to also like, comment, and share. If you would like to share your story, talk about accountability, or if you want to hear a topic here on Just Swallow the Pill, you can email me at thedifficultpill@gmail.com. And as always, remember, your crown is not on your head, it is in your soul. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.